And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because do you know what the Streisand effect is? You should really look that one up. Last week during the Horrible Scopes, we told you to look up what the Batman Gambit is. You got more homework to do. Go look up what the Streisand effect is because, boy howdy, it's a good thing. And part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. Shujin. Hi. Good to be back with you. It's been an eventful week, so we're gonna have a fun time tonight. From the right hand coast of the U.S., UnrenownedTech. Good morning.
Hello.
From the left-hand coast, from points left, Io. Hi, kitty. How are you?
Fine. My foot, my leg. Ow.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the people that we were with tonight was a medic for the U.S. blah blah blah. Probably Navy. I could be wrong. And he took one look at my foot and said, "Yeah, get it elevated as soon as you get home." E-bikes versus humans. At least nobody was killed from this collision.
I'll take that any time of the day. So, Good to have you guys with me. We were hoping to have Brigid with us tonight. I did get word from her earlier that her job has decided that they needed her semi-last minute, which meant that she couldn't even take a nap in order to join us, which was the original plan, last week as well. And it's part of the reason why she's really like, I want to be on the show, which means I don't have to be at work at ungodly. You get the idea. So, yes, we're wanting for her to just stay safe and to eventually get herself a better job, minimally, with better hours. So, hun, if you happen to be listening tonight, we're with you. We're pretty freaking fed up with it too. But just stay safe.
For you.
Yeah, and for you. So, hi. As always, everybody, if you'd like to be joining us as we record live, feel free to join us over there on YouTube because, you do that, you can be part of the Peanut Squad over there. So, Felis, you made it. Hi. Don't know where the rest of the group would be, which would be Stephanie, but, every once in a while we get some more folks, which is always good. Always good. Always love to have you guys joining us. So, thank you. Like I said, just really quickly, we know full well that this past week since the last show has been interesting times, as has been put before, and we're gonna kind of go into good portions of that. But it's been interesting. So we're very much looking forward to tonight because we don't have to be ranting and raving, but we can do it in our own classy way. By tech classy meaning you don't have to be, double entendre for everything. Saying that because tech is a bad habit of.
Okay.
I was gonna say, not being smart about
deeper.
stuff, but that's
dig deeper. It's okay.
So it's fine.
See how far down you can go.
Well, I don't have to worry too much because I know full well that tech doesn't have access to launched equipment. I mean, physically launched, technologically launched. However, am entirely screwed. So it's going to be what it's going to be. I am also. Seeger, you made it. Hi, good morning. I am also still kind of working over getting the upgrade done on my computer. It's slow going because I do not want to be dealing with the hubris of, I've been falling asleep 3 hours early this entire week because the weather and stress from the job. So, Yeah, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. Wasn't sure of what he was doing. So, yeah, I didn't want to be doing that. I will get it. It's just a question of how long it's going to take me. I'll get there. So, it takes a little longer. Okay. But at least I won't have to worry about having to rebuild everything from scratch. I hope. But we'll see where it goes. Tech?
Yeah.
If this was the movie theater, people would be telling you, stop unwrapping your cellophane.
I apologize. I was getting out a cork.
That
No,
did not sound like a cork.
not
Oh no, it's
touching
a
that.
plastic bag filled with corks wrapped in cellophane. It
Not
really is a
touching it.
cork. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I really am unwrapping a cork.
Sure you are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word on it. Don't need to worry. Very cool though. And for those of you that don't already know, Cork is the name of a place as well. Go ahead and look that one up while you're listening, because it's time for me to go ahead and do my thing. So let me go ahead and get things rolling over here, because it is time for the freestyle. So 5 minutes on the clock. Think, and believe it or not, after I started typing for the show announcement, all I could hear in my head was Aretha Franklin. I don't listen to very many podcasts. I've got like 4 that pop up on my listening device every once in a while, I think. And one of them is, well, 2 of them are actually, I'm not going to say competitors, but people also in the atheist circle with us. And the diatribe that I listened to, and you might figure out from that which one it is, was about how there were so many who are supposed to be in the skeptical area who have got all these conspiracy theories going on about the recent high visibility, high profile shooting that was attempted on a high profile individual. Wow, that was interesting for me, because I understood the complaint that was being leveled, which was how so many people in the supposedly, skeptical community were throwing around all these conspiracy theory ideas of what happened, what might have happened, and different ideas that were unsupported by evidence in the time. And I shouldn't feel personally called out, but in a way I kind of feel personally called out. Now, I know full well that there's no way, because they don't listen to us. I know that for a fact. I mean, the only time that they ever did was when they were on with us way back when. But it felt kind of weird to me, because I know full well that all of the different things that we spoke about at the time were things that were mentioned. Things like, was it an inside job? Could have been. Was it one of those, whatever they call it, that false flag? Was it a setup? Was it intentionally done this way in order to drum up a specific reactionary way? The problem of it is, we did not say at any point that's what we think happened. We very specifically said we would not be at all surprised if that were the case. And I think that's where the big difference is. With the boy who cried wolf story, the people eventually just got so jaded that they were just like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not going to believe you. With all of the things that this moron has done over the years, it is hard for so many of us to take this kind of thing seriously. Because there have been so many shootings. There have been so many in the United States that it's hard to actually say, well, the shooting that happened on whatever date, in whatever state, could you be a little bit more specific than that? First off, how sad is this? How sad is this? After so many school shootings where children have been mowed down and nothing is done, time and time and time again, when you look at the demographics, the statistics of who is doing this, who is making this violence happen, what are the indicators? And yet there's nothing done. When a specific political group says, we want everyone to possibly have a gun that could, and yet at their own convention, no, you keep your guns outside because that's the way that we want to run it for safety. And then people say, sure, you know what? We'll just go ahead and go along with that. Maybe, to use an expression, if you used the brains that God gave you, thought about this stuff, you'd come to a different conclusion. Because some of us would really like to believe the reality. Us would really like for you to be right there with us, please, and do things. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get over to the horrible scopes. And
by the way, if you go to host chat, you'll see that I wasn't fooling around.
I can't, because if I do, I'm going to lose the video, and that's the way that I've got things set
there's
up.
a picture of the bag of cork and everything else in there, so
I'll just have to take your word on that right now.
Oh, the horrible scopes.
Yes. So it is time for the horrible scopes. For those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, you can just make it up as you go along. I don't really much care. You want a D12, though, to make it more interesting? Get in touch with the folks over there at Heart of the Game Fredonia. They'll sell you one. I don't know if they can ship it, but they'll sell you one. And if you go in and you get it yourself, you can pay in cash. And then you can pet the mimic in the window, assuming that the mimic is still in the window. Remember, that's Heart of the Game Fredonia. Hail, hail, Fredonia, the home of the Blue Devil. And just when you thought there was a cohesive plan for the horrible scopes, that idea is just out the window. Yeah, there actually is a plan on how your scope came to be this week, but there's no real easy way to explain how this worked out. I'll try to explain it this way. Rolled a d12 for each one of you. So it was 12 d12. Each sign received a number. That number was used to search for music in my collection with a word in it, and finally your scope was born from that. So you got me so far? Cool, great. That's about as close as I can explain it for y'all. So here we go.
You know, we've done that method before, so this is nothing new.
No.
Yeah?
No, not this one.
You did one where you had a list of stuff, and then you did a D12 to see who got what.
Yeah, that I've done. But trying to explain that the music crafted the scope.
I see.
Like I said, that's the closest way that I can explain it.
Tech, trust me, Shu was on good drugs writing these.
More like alcohol.
No, more like C6H12O6 and
okay.
caffeine. Lot of caffeine, I think. I need to see if I got more coffee. Do I need to buy more coffee? I'll end up buying some more coffee sooner or later. Aries, we're taking you out for a drink at a bar this week. Not because we want you drunk, because we want you to pull a prank on the bartender. When they ask you what you want, ask if you can get a grasshopper. Now, you'll likely get either one of two reactions after a glazed look, after a couple of seconds. Either reaction A, they'll tell you to order something real or get the fuck out. Or two, they'll eventually slowly smirk at you and make it, likely at a premium price. So this week, whatever price they tell you, pay it and tip an extra $5. And when people ask you what the hell it is that you're drinking, just tell them in your best deadpan voice, it is green.
Nice Star Trek reference.
Well,
I-
yes, but
the thing I want to point out to the people listening, do this at a bar that you don't frequent, lest you be banned. Taurus, okay, this time we're just going to blatantly tell you the song, the 12 Days of Christmas. At the end of it, there are 364 gifts given. But here's the best part. Since its inception in 1909, there have been so many variations on the theme that you likely never knew about it. So this week, sing it like this. 12 bulls a roaring, 11 badgers baiting, 10 ships a sailing, 9 lambs a bleeding, 8 hares a running, 7 squabs a swimming, 6 ducks a laying, a golden ring, 4 collie birds, 3 fat hens, 2 French hens, and a sprig of a juniper tree. Look, it's the Christmas in July scope for you. Deal?
I was going to say a golden eternity ring. But,
that,
eh.
yeah.
Gemini, we know things have been rough on you lately. And we're really expecting things to level off finally. But to get through this, you'll need to get over yourself just a little because you're suffering from touch starvation. No, you don't need to go on some one night stands, but you kind of do need to have some physical interactions. So this week, check your local listings, see if there's a cat cafe in your vicinity, and book an hour's time. And remember, we said cat cafe, not cat girl cafe.
Yeah, there was one in Buffalo that Tiny Triple had gone to, and unfortunately, they've since shuttered, which sucks.
Well, there's one in Queens.
I mean, that wouldn't at all surprise me.
Yeah. I've actually been to not a cat cafe, but it's more of they had to stop serving food because of COVID. So now it's just you go in and you play with the cats and you have a nice day.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable. Kansas Moonchild, you need to brush up on your French. You want to go traveling out of the country, but you want to at least try to not be completely inept with language. Plus, your cell phone's data plan is going to charge you up the yin-yang if you want to use some translation service online. So instead of buying a burner phone or relying on Wi-Fi, just relearn what you should still know from high school. So this week, if you accidentally invite someone to go to bed with you while you're in another country, just be sure you're asking the right person.
Leo, we get that you want to change jobs, want a new challenge to get out of the rut you're in, but looking to keep your pay rate. It's not as easy to do as it used to be. But getting lateral promotions are still a thing. Just look up what your job's typical compensation is, do some application farming, and see what comes up. If you get a cushy 9 to 5 in your pay zone, see what your current company will do for you. If they're unwilling to match it, scoot out and enjoy the new digs. So this week, well, we just told you. See if anyone's willing to give you more for your special set of skills. Oh, and no compete clauses are totally unenforceable. Likewise, if you're employed in the United States of America, those wonderful little statements of saying, you sign this agreement saying that you will not talk about your pay and or compensation to any other coworker, yeah, that's completely illegal in the United States of America. And if you get terminated for it, call an employment lawyer. They love those cases. Just make sure to get it in writing that you broke that clause and that's why you were fired. It's like they're signing the check for you.
Easier said than done, though. But still.
If you got a really stupid manager, it's really easy.
Virgo. You need to sample some booze this week. Oh, hell yes. Obviously not if you're a recovering alcoholic, of course. But if you're not, now's as good a time as any to try something new. Don't get beer or wine or vodka or tequila. Nothing that's your typical frat party drink. Get something with a little class for change. So this week, fine, you want wine, but are willing to try a twist on it? Get some sherry then. Actually, there is an elephant wine. It's a fruit that elephants eat, and it ferments on the vine. And so they've been making it and selling it as alcohol. I know you can get it in Canada. I don't know about it down here. I loved it.
I am not getting into a fight with a pachyderm over their beverage.
No, I'm with you. Although, come the winter, and or the early winter, I should say, and pumpkins have been outside for long enough to start to ferment, and squirrels get into them and get drunk.
Or the horses on the apple trees.
That's just too damned cool and funny, and yeah. Libra, before you start thinking you know what's coming your way, just know that even the stars didn't know what to do for you. But there's a plan that'll be worthwhile. Normally, we wouldn't suggest feeding a bad mood, but we can make a suggestion that'll be fun at least. So this week, buy a box of Hershey's chocolate bars. I know they taste horrible, but just go with us on this one. It'll come out to about $1 a bar, and freeze them. See if you can drop them on a tabletop, breaking them into only 2 pieces. It might take several attempts, so be glad you got the 36-pack.
It's much easier to speak when I'm not on mute.
No, you can speak fine, you just can't be heard.
Oh, there are some people who'd pay for that. Scorpio, there is an old adage. 2 wrongs don't make a right. 3 rights make a left. We'll pause for a few seconds so you can work that one out. Okay, good. Now, we're sending you on a road trip to New Jersey to visit Hot Dog Johnny's in Buttsville. Yes, that's a real place. It's a roadside landmark that serves only hot dogs and french fries, plus birch beer in frosted mugs. So this week, don't try to make a left turn on Jersey thoroughfares. You can only make 3 rights. You'll see when you get there.
This reminds me of Vancouver when we first got there. Oh no, can't turn left here. We have to go right.
Yeah.
Because Vancouver has a bunch of one-way streets.
Yeah, there's a term for it, and we're not going to talk about it because screw you, Jersey.
Sagittarius. Over the years, there have been many variations on the Spider-Man theme, from the 1967 cartoon to the 1977 live-action TV version. There was a live action? I don't remember live action.
Trust me, you don't. No.
Wait. Electric Company?
Nope. No. That was good.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah, the Electric Company was fantastic.
And sure, there's been all kinds of gritty or pop tunes made for him, but inevitably they all come back to the 67 classic for a reason. It's the simple rock and roll, blues, AABC style that just burned into our collective consciousnesses. So this week, if you want to enjoy the classic as a punk version, grab 1995's Saturday Morning's Cartoons Greatest Hits album and listen to the Ramones taking a stab at it.
I have the Ramones version on my MP3 player. It's fantastic.
You scare me. You scare me.
I've been listening to that for like since the 90s.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of when it came out.
The Ramones rock.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but listening to like all those rockers do like cartoon songs and everything else, fantastic.
Oh yeah. And Seeker's over there, by the way. Stephanie made it. Doc, good morning, sir.
Doc, Goose.
No. Capricorn, there are signs all over the place, all trying to distract you from what you need to do. Did you see the 1988 movie They Live? If you didn't, you really need to see it. If you thought Idiocracy was too over the top trying to describe how humanity would devolve in 500 years, watch They Live and understand that it was written as a similar warning about 1980s capitalism strangling society. So this week, if someone offers you a set of sunglasses, take them.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
I don't know what your problem is. Dalan was able to read this perfectly fine.
Aquarius. Somehow I knew I was going to get this. Summer school is in, and you need a geography pop quiz. Trust me, this is going to be as painful for both of us. What city became the capital of the Roman Empire during the reign of Constantine the Great in 330 CE? CE being Common Era. Time's up. Now, we would have accepted
Would you like some help?
Byzantium.
Yep.
Nova Roma. Basilosa, whatever the hell that is. Queen of Cities. Megalopolis, the great city. Polis, the city. Or even Miklagora, the big city in Norse. There are some of you who are now upset that we didn't give a point for using either of the names used in a song by the Four Lads or They Might Be Giants. That's because we asked what city became, not what city was named after it became the capital. So this week, if you paid more attention in class, we wouldn't have to go through summer school with you all over again. And I would be reading this. Now open your geography book to chapter 7 and read all about Leif Erikson. And no, he did not start a cell phone company.
But.
No.
Pisces. Nobody wants to hear you say it, but you're gonna. Not only are you right, but we agree. Old Billy Shakespeare was a hack and used every single cliche in the book. There's no way someone like him could have come up with all those new words and terms and expressions and names while needing to have everything printed twice in a book so that it could be understood. If he was so damn good as a writer, how come no one can understand him? So this week, have you ever tried to tame a shrew? Have you ever seen one? They're like little mice, only different. Have you ever heard of someone who's tried to tame one? Yeah, we didn't think so. Or, as my grandfather used to like to joke, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou my Romeo? I'm down here, stupid, the ladder broke.
Nice thing about shrews is if they're flesh-eating shrews and they're really, really hungry, you can give a bag to your neighbor.
There is that. There is that. And if you ended up on the ground because the ladder broke, if you're able to scream, that means that you didn't puncture your lung. So good on you there, I suppose. I'll go with that. those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you like what you got, good. Cool. I'd love to hear it once in a while, but maybe, spread the word about the horrible scopes every once in a while. It'd be really nice to see it get a little bit of traction out there. Maybe just a little bit. If you want a better or nastier one for yourself or someone else's sign, all you need to do to bribe me is ask, or literally bribe me, because I've got a thing for it over on Coffee. Coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. As usual, I have these posted online at the end of the week. Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, BlueSky. Last week's was a little bit more interesting because I had a little bit of fun with some sign because I screwed around with the font size, which apparently annoyed some people, and I don't know why. Is what it is. And Doc was asking what was Taurus. Doc, I will go ahead and I will say this much. It's Christmas in July. I can we see what we can do about that for you a little bit later. How's that? This is episode 502 on the docket, Your Honor. So, anything new happen this week? I went looking it up, by the way. For those of you that don't know, error 502 from a web server is a bad gateway. Whew.
And I looked up, JD Vance did not have sex with a couch.
That we've been able to document yet.
Correct.
What?
Yeah, so that's kind of part of this whole damn thing. This week has been interesting times as the ancient Egyptian, listen to me. The old Chinese oath
proverb
is supposed to say. Yeah, which loosely translates as I've understood it, may you live in interesting times. And it's supposed to be an egregious insult to people. That, if you're living in interesting times, it's because you're probably at the center of a whole bunch of stuff going sideways. And that's not good. So there are a number of pieces that we're gonna make mention to, and it's been interesting. Is this going to intersect with our overall theme of skepticism and
No way. I was skeptical that he had sex with a couch because, it would have to consent for it.
Well,
otherwise it's rape.
Maybe. That's assuming it had the capacity. But that's another piece for a little later. Of course, the piece that we're mentioning about, and I guess it's a good enough jumping off point, the presumptive nominee, or if memory serves, I do believe is the nominee for the Republican Party here in the United States for the office of President of the United States, is the guy that has lost each of the popular votes, even though he's been granted the position of president once. However, to go along with all of that, and the ear tampon that apparently he has got everybody wearing. I
rate that right up there with the cross. I really do. I rate that right up there with the cross, because if you think about it, right? Okay, so he supposedly got shot. Apparently there's some forensics questioning whether or not he was actually hit by the bullet or whether it was something else that hit him that the bullet originally hit or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a forensic analyst. I'm not gonna. He got injured during the shooting. It tore off a chunk of his ear, whatever it was. And so, but it was an act that supposedly was trying to unalive him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was an act that supposedly unalived a very important person as well by the name of Jesus. And people wear the device that supposedly killed the man around their neck. So when I see people wearing basically a maxi pad on their ear in tribute to the man. It doesn't surprise me because they treat him like a freaking martyr.
Yep. 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 And that's why there have been pictures from various conventions and whatnot where people have got these. Calling it a maxi pad stuck to their ear is not over the top. It is not hyperbole. It really does look exactly like that. It really does. And there's pictures of a dozen people at a gathering that are all doing their thing, and they're wearing their colors, which is part of the reason why I wear my blue hat. Thank you very much. And they've all got the thing on their ear, and the captions on these pictures are, not a cult at all. Right. So, with the presumptive nominee for the political group of Tangerine Mussolini, I don't particularly want to name by name because I really don't want to projectile vomit all over my monitor. Thank you very much.
The felon?
Yeah, the felon. And that's going to become really important in a couple of moments. Hold on to that thought, people. Stick a pin on that one. So he's going to be running again. And the person that has been tapped to be his vice presidential campaign, I don't know what the right term would be for this person because they hated his guts before publicly. There's social media stuff that's archived that's out there that shows he did not particularly care for the guy. But now he's apparently kissed the ring, and by ring I mean sphincter, and has decided that he's going to go ahead and be the vice presidential candidate and possible potential whipping boy later. Yeah. So J.D. Vance, there are now the thing of it is, I don't want to say that it's conspiracy theories, because the idea that this guy masturbated with a couch, has it been done before by anyone? I will go ahead and I will say categorically yes. Sometime in history, someone has done that. Did he? Don't know. But the story is circulating that he did. We understand that it is humorous. It is a dig. It is a way for us to go ahead and say, sure you did. But of course, someone that would have done that would have said exactly the same things that you are to say that you didn't. We understand. We're not going to judge you. Wink, wink. We're just having fun. Or at least most of us are just having fun. Because even if it were true, who is it hurting? The Broyhill Company's name, I think, is probably the only one that it would really hurt. And I mean, we can have a little bit of fun with this. We can say, look, maybe it was maybe he was trying to gain a little bit of culture by, instead of screwing a love seat, for instance, maybe it was something a little bit more European, like an ottoman. That's joke, son. You're supposed to laugh at those.
Yeah.
But apparently it's been very under the skin on some people, because they're like, well, you shouldn't be saying these kinds of things. I'm sorry. We absolutely should, and we are, because we don't believe that it's real anyway, and even if it is, so what? we're not really that hung up about masturbation practices. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some of us know of various adult toy companies that manufacture stuff that would otherwise be exceptionally, some would find dubiously questionable, shall we say. Are we going to name names? No. No, we are not. Because we're not sponsored by any of them. So if they want to pay us money and sponsor us, we'll mention your company names. But that's not for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what somebody does in the privacy of their own home, as long as they're not hurting, as long as they're not hurting other people, right?
Nope. Not hurting, harming. Difference.
My apologies. Yes, correct. Thank you for the correction. I do appreciate that.
Yes.
As long as they're not harming other people, when there's consent, as a friend of mine likes to say, consent is sexy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it's consenting adults, do whatever you want to do. You don't need somebody else's approval. Just be yourself. You'll be happier for it in the long run.
Yeah. For instance, if you, like I said, if it was a love seat that was manufactured, it doesn't have a mind, so it can't communicate. So consent is not a thing that we have to worry about. Competitors
but, along that lines, that same mentality goes along with cars. But I will warn you, if the car's been running, the exhaust gets really, really hot.
Well, I mean, that is kind of...
Not that kind of hot.
Yeah,
like temperature grade, like melt your nuts off hot.
Yeah, that's yeah. Melted silicone is not the way to go. And I mean, if again, a couch doesn't need to consent. Unlike
or rubber chicken.
Unlike I don't know, preteen beauty pageant girls, for instance, who should. I'm sorry, am I making any kind of specific reference to something? I'm sure I'm just flying off the handle over here, and I should be taking better notes about, where my flights of fancy are taking me. I'm just a kid from an island, so I don't know what it is that you people are thinking that I might be intimating here. It's just nothing at all. I mean, when you've got your own kind of show, they let you do this kind of thing. And there's some people right now that are just like, I'm catching what you're saying, and you people, you're the ones that are going to get me in trouble one of these days. I respect you. No, I'm not going to run away from it. So yeah, it's been interesting, put it mildly, because we leave all the sordid stuff aside for a couple of seconds here. My God, the idea that yet again, it's somebody who is decided that they are going to completely renounce all of their dispersions and just, again, kiss the ring to the Don and join up with him because reasons? I don't, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was, oh God, who the hell it was that said that if the Republican Party names Donald Trump as our nominee, then we will be destroyed and we will have deserved it. I forget who it was that said it, but I'm sure it was not somebody that was particularly notable in politics or anything, or at least Not anymore. Can't imagine why. Oh, whatever. Politics is funny that way. And he's decided to hitch his horse to this, I was going to say wagon, but I don't know which one of them's going to be the horse or the wagon on this one in particular, because I don't know who's going to be pulling more than the other with the way that things are going to be going in politics right now. And I say that because I don't know if somebody is going to be, somebody who is convicted of being a felon is going to be incarcerated before the elections. Because that's entirely possible right now. It should have already happened. I'm sorry?
Means he might not be able to get to vote for himself.
Well, see. Okay, let's deal with that one. The thing of it is, if you are a resident in Florida, apparently, from what I've understood, if you are a felon convicted outside of the state's jurisdiction, you can still vote. If you are, however, convicted of felony in Florida and you are a Florida resident, yeah, you can't vote. I don't know how I feel about that particular way about it. So, I mean, that's a whole other thing. I do believe that everyone that is of age to vote should be allowed to vote, regardless of their incarceration status, because when do you give up all of those rights? I don't know. But that's a big old complicated thing, because that's done by the individual states and not at the federal level, which means that it's done however each of those little fiefdoms does it. So, it's fun.
Too bad we don't have unified rules systems,
Yeah.
I do like what Dr. Waxon says. Politics, from the Latin poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking vermin.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the felon seems to be living in Florida. Takes Florida man to a whole new level.
Yes. Lower and lower and lower. And just like with just like with newer editions of Minecraft, just because you hit bedrock doesn't mean that you've gotten through the floor just yet.
Yeah, always the fun getting that one. Oops, you have fallen beneath the bedrock. Bye bye.
Yeah, I don't. For those of you that don't particularly care or to know about it, just know full well that once upon a time ago there used to be an actual level 0 in altitude, and that was bedrock. That's no longer a thing anymore. Jeez, I can't imagine what I might be alluding to. So yeah, this whole thing has just been, and to say it's just been a shit show doesn't even put too fine a point on it. It's just been all kinds of all over, because we're seeing these cultists putting stuff on their head because it's solidarity. I don't even know. They're trying to show off what they are, and they're trying to say, no, we're not part of a cult. Meanwhile, the son of a bitch is going ahead and literally saying, if you go out and vote in 4 years, you won't ever have to vote again. There are those who are saying the context of this is... Now, first I'm going to stop you right there, because if you have to go ahead and take what somebody has said and say, well, what he meant was, and then twist it into such a way that there is a pathway to the explanation that you're giving, but that was very obviously in the context of when it was said, not what was being said, Oh, by the way, I was specifically making reference to things about the Pope and the way that the Cardinals kind of change everything around about, using slurs and whatnot, but that's a whole other thing. So, coming back to American politics, though, if you need to stop and say, well, what he actually meant, and you take it and you twist it in a way that you need to really go into a pretzel in order to get to the context that you're describing, you've lost the point.
It's the same thing they do with the Bible.
Yeah.
Why would they not do it?
Yeah. So, yeah, this whole thing about, if you come out and you vote, now you won't have to vote ever again. In the moment, in the context of when it was spoken and how it was spoken, in context with the I intend to be a dictator for just the first day. I'm sorry, no. That right then and there should be a disqualifier. It should be a disqualifier to any and everyone that actually cares about the country and its well-being.
Why wasn't it a disqualifier back when he was proclaiming about grabbing women by the pussy? Why wasn't a disqualifier when he tormented and made fun of a poor disabled reporter? I believe he was a reporter.
Yep.
That entire thing. Like, do the Republicans not have any class at all?
No.
Not anymore, no.
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 That was the old guard, lady.
Yeah, it really was.
They're gone.
It really was once upon a time ago.
They're gone.
Yeah. As soon as the 1970s were over, class and respect, no, man, that was it. That was done. It really was. Because Reagan came in 19 it was 1980. Yeah. Gone. Absolutely, it was gone. It was absolutely a facade that he put up because he was good at that, because he was an actor. Yeah. So we've got that going on, and yeah. Oh, and Doc is pointing out Trump was a wrestler. That's news to me. Yeah. Back in the 80s, he was part of that whole push by what was at the time known as the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, which is now WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, because they tried to continue to use the name WWF, which is also shared by the World Wildlife Federation, who basically said, look, okay, just don't do anything really, really, really egregiously stupid, and okay, we'll coexist happily under the moniker WWF. And eventually they got sick and tired of it, and they said, no, get off my lawn. So they had to change their name. But yes, in the 80s, WWF was the wrestlers had a big push to try and get more pop recognition, and that's when the whole rock and wrestling thing happened, and he was there, and you had Cyndi Lauper was part of that, and it was, I mean, it was super popular. I'll admit it, because I lived through it. You look at the video for Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which, by the way, Cyndi Lauper's is a cover. Didn't know that. The video that they did with it had Captain Lou Albano as her father in the video of the World Wrestling Federation at the time. So, yeah. Don Cornel... Well, no, that was Don Cornholio. Don
Cornelio.
Yeah, I was about to say Cornelius, but then it's like, oh no, Don Cornelius was like a really, really cool dude, and I should not use that name. Don Cornelius was a really, really good guy. If you want to look him up, look up Soul Train. Good guy. Really, really good guy. Yeah, he was part of that. Don Cheeto was part of that whole thing, and not necessarily in a good way, but he was part of it. So, back when he could still move around worth a damn. So that was him, and I do believe that we would be completely remiss. Wait a minute. Let me catch up on what else was going on the chat over here. Seeker was asking earlier, and I know I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. So Florida felons can vote, but out-of-state felons that reside in Florida can't vote. So confused. No. If you are a resident of Florida, convicted of a felony in Florida, you cannot vote. If you are a Florida resident, convicted of a felony outside of the state of Florida, you can. From what I've understood. Now, I am not a lawyer-type personality. Don't take legal advice from a podcast. But as I've understood it, that's the way that it's supposed to work. I don't understand that because state-to-state reciprocity, I would think, what the hell do I know? Doc is also pointing out, Scotland hates Trump enough that they built a wind farm right next to his Scotland golf course. Good. Fine by me. And for anybody that didn't catch up to it, by the way, the quote-unquote the Epstein files do show quite a number of connections between Don Cornholio and Epstein and his little retreat locale. So for anybody that wants to go ahead and get on my ass about it, you might want to double check and be sure that you've actually got your information correct, because last I checked, facts are on my side about that one. So GFY. I'm going to say it that way right now because it's kind of the way that's going to work. And we would be completely remiss if we did not spend a lot of time at this point covering what is arguably the biggest story on the scene politic in the United States right now. It is not the first time that something like this has happened, but it is also the first time that something like this has happened. The President of the United States currently, Joseph Biden, in his first go-round as president, has decided that he will not seek re-election. Let me clarify this just a second here. To the best of my recollection, the only other time a sitting president has voluntarily refused to seek an additional term was George Washington sitting out after 2 presidential terms. Think about this a second. George Washington, his second go-round as president, decides he is not going to seek a third because he wanted to set an example. Joe Biden, in the end of his first term, has said, you know what? I'm gonna sit this out now. Now, anybody else could have easily just said, look, keep going because you've got the momentum, you're in the position of authority now. Don't screw this up. Yeah, your age is a bit of an issue, but you know what? Come on, man, you can do this. And has decided, yeah, no, that's okay. Let's go ahead and have somebody else take the reins. Oh, how about my current vice president? Because we're basically the same ticket when all is said and done. So, as of this past week, remember I said about the whole thing is, anything new happened this week? The first. No, I can't even quite say that. I was about to say the first woman of color is nominated to be president, but that's not entirely true. If I remember right, and I don't remember when or who it was, but as I recall, there was at least one woman of native descent in the United States who tried to be minimally a third party candidate for president. Didn't happen, unfortunately, but if I recall, there was one other one. But this will be the second time in recent political memory that we have a woman vying to be president of the United States. And in this case, a woman of mixed descent. And Kamala Harris, I am pleased to say, over the past week has gotten so much support. It's not even funny. So I would love to hear your reaction when you guys heard about this. Because, all right, let me really quickly set the stage before I throw it over to you guys. Joe Biden thought about this. He spoke with his family about this. He took a weekend to think about it, to really think about it. Came in on, I think came in on a Monday. Brought in his campaign personality and brought in Kamala and told them what his intentions were. And literally within 1 minute afterwards, the information was put up on the web for everyone else to see. So it was literally, okay, guys, this is what I'm doing. Explained what he's doing, and then boom, the big button was hit, the switch was turned on, and the web server went live with the information. And everybody had to deal with the outcome. I'm giving you first shot on this one. What did you think when you heard? What are you thinking about it now? And how much breath did you lose laughing at the poor schlep, knowing what he's going to have to deal with?
Oh, I'm not laughing at the poor schlep. I'm cheering her on. Just because I can't vote this election doesn't mean that I don't know the assignment. Vote blue. And my Google foo was good. Women presidential and vice presidential candidates, a selected list, and I put that into the show notes. The earliest woman for president, Victoria Cloughlin Woodhull, 1872.
I thought it was 1860 something, but 72. Cool. She was from somewhere out the Midwest, as I recall, no?
Doesn't really say. Oh, Ohio, yeah.
Cool enough.
See,
I actually did remember some of this stuff, man. But brain still works.
Belva Ann Bennett Lockwood, 1884 and 1888. Margaret Chase Smith, 1964. Shirley Anita Chisholm, 1972. Patsy Takamoto Mink, 1972. So we actually had two.
Make sure that that's in the notes. Cool.
And it keeps on going on and on and on. Michelle Bachmann in 2012. Jill Stein, 2008, 2016. Madam Clinton, 2008, 2016. Carly Fiorina in 2016. Tulsi Gabbard, 2020. Kirsten Gillibrand, 2020. Kamala Harris, 2020, 2024. And there's also Elizabeth Warren, Maureen Williamson, Amy Klobuchar, Joe Jorgensen, and Nikki Haley, as well as a list of vice presidential candidates.
You know,
So yeah.
some of those names, it's like, oh yeah, there was that. Oh yeah, there was that. Oh yeah, there was that. Where are they now? Some of them are just still just really just want them to go away.
But yeah, I know my assignment. If I had a ballot and was legitimate to vote, I know what I'm supposed to do. But because I don't have the ability to vote this election, I'm going to be holding it until I can.
Perfectly reasonable. Hey, who knows? Maybe Trix cereal will have another ballot initiative to see if the Trix Rabbit can get the cereal again this year.
Maybe.
They did that when I was a kid, and they finally he finally got enough votes that they finally did a commercial where he got the Trix cereal. Leave me alone.
Also on the voting front, there's still rumors that Canadian Federal is going to go down, and I believe this is the year that the provincial has to be voted in BC. So I should be getting a ballot in the next couple months from BC if they haven't disenfranchised me too.
Piece at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tech.
Yes. So I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris.
That's fair.
I'm really not, and for various reasons, legitimate, rational reasons. I think other people would be better qualified as president than her, but none of those reasons have anything to do with her nationality nor her gender.
Thank you.
Because I've had bosses who were women who were fantastic, and I've had ones that were crap. But likewise, I've had men as bosses that were fantastic and men that were crap. So to me, gender and nationality don't enter into it for me.
Real quickly, Doc, take care of yourself. Have a good dinner. And good morning, man. Take care. It's good to see you.
Enjoy, Doc. Don't forget the beans. They're good for your heart.
I'm
you know,
gonna go with that.
Between the beans and the garlic, great heart, great blood. That should attract a vampire in no time. I actually had that thought at dinner today. Is like when I was actually eating pickled garlic. I was saying to myself, if I was a vampire and I wasn't actually allergic to garlic as a vampire, I would still tell people that were afraid of me that I couldn't eat them if they had garlic, because I love garlic, and it would be kind of a reverse psychology. And then now they're seasoning themselves with the garlic.
Yeah, so somebody's pointed out. Somebody's pointed out. Maybe that's exactly it. Maybe vampires aren't actually allergic to garlic, and they just have that one out there so that people actually season themselves, so that when they finally get bit, oh, thank you, this flavor.
Yeah, there was one of those '90s movies where it's got the kids, the who are the heroes, of course, and they invite a vampire into their house, and they replace the Parmesan with ground up garlic, and he starts choking on it, and they're like, he's a vampire. He's like, no, I love garlic, it's just there's too much. And later on he says to the kids, it's like, you foolish kids, don't you know that you give up all protections when you invite a vampire into your house? So the garlic ceases to work, holy water ceases to work, crosses cease to work if you invite a vampire into your home, because he's welcome at that point. It was a neat little movie. If I
Sounds
find
like
it,
Lost Boys.
it might have been. I think it was Lost Boys.
Because they do have that dinner scene and they do overwhelm him with garlic. He's like, no, I like garlic.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does tell the boys, foolish, you let me in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they welcomed him in. They invited him in. I think this is what it was. But anyway, I digress. But the point is that I don't. She's not my number one list for a president. Um, However, when I saw who some of the potential vice presidential picks could be for her, I saw two names that I thought to myself, well, if one of those two run with her, that will fill in the things that I think she's missing, that she would be missing as a president, and compensate and tackle some of the things that I would want to be tackled that I don't think she'd be able to do it. Just from um, not that she wouldn't care to do certain things, but that she has other things on her agenda. And I think that several of the other potential VPs, would most likely have those things on their agenda and tackle them and do it well. So, um, depending on who ends up becoming her running mate for vice president, will determine whether or not she gets my vote. Because if she's lacking, and I think there's a better candidate, which I currently do, and but if she has the right, it's like I told my son, right? You can't know everything, you can't do everything. So if you're in charge of something, in charge of a work project, for example, you have to know where your flaws are so that you can bring good people underneath you who can fill the gap. Okay. They can fill the holes of where the things that you can't accomplish either on your own or at all, but maybe they can. So you take them, you help them, you nurture them, you be loyal to them, you know, and you don't degrade them. You trust them and you work with them. And together you get the project done. So if she brings in the right people into her administration, then yeah, I think she would be a good candidate. All in all, I still think she'd be better than Trump, but I still think there's others that are better than her.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So, and before they brought up the president, the potential list of vice presidents that could possibly run with her, my real thought was, we could do better.
Could, yes,
Hmm.
but at the same time, the momentum is. I'm not even going to say is building. It's already built,
Yeah.
and just
And
accumulating even more.
yeah. And on another note, I'm also really, really fucking pissed at the Democrats for this shit. All of this was bullshit. All of this could have been avoided because when Biden first got elected, he and even when he was still running before he was elected, he told the world, "Oh, I'm only going to do this once. I'm not going to rerun, you know, for reasons." And sure enough, when it gets close, "Oh, I'm going to rerun." It's like, you son of a bitch, you lied. You lied just like the rest of them. But more importantly, because you did that stupid thing, you shot yourself in the foot. They could have had 4 years to find somebody better, somebody even better than Kamala, who had better um, likability by at least 51% of the people who are going to vote, or more. And they could have had years to prop this person up, make them the poster child of the Democratic Party, of what a president could be and should be, and what they could do for the country, and their administrative staff, who's going to work under them if they get elected, and what these people are capable. And they could have gone on a 4-year PR campaign to just bulldoze the bullshit right under the carpet, right? Just steamroll them into nothingness. And yet they didn't do it. They didn't do it because they got greedy, because they were selfish, all the different things that you can say. And it's why I'm still pissed off at the Democratic Party, and almost as much as I'm pissed off at the Republicans.
I've been pissed off at the Democratic Party ever since Bernie showed up with bruises on his face and he was no longer a potential Democratic
The
candidate.
Democrats did Bernie dirty. Period.
Oh,
End of conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did him dirty, and I've never forgiven them for that, because that
And
was a
because
trick I expected of the Republicans.
And because they did that, they lost a chance of having a damn good president come in
With a
and
bird.
block.
Yeah, supported by Mother Nature themselves.
If ever there was a Disney princess moment, Bernie freaking had it.
And the best part was you could see the smile on his face when he saw the bird.
Yeah, because when does that ever happen? It never happens like that. It never does.
But it's. I understand what other people are saying, that, oh, you got to vote for Kamala because you can't let Trump win. I was like, yeah, but you know what? When do we start voting for the people who are better? When do we as a society start going, I know that they say if I don't vote for this one, the other side wins. But I'm going to start just voting for the person I think who's really, really good based on their past history, what they've actually accomplished, their voting record, all the things that are publicly available, and actually start voting in that respect. There's got to be a point where we start doing that, because doing this whole left thing, right thing, neither one's a good party anymore. I'm sorry, but they're both suck. One sucks less than the other, but they're still bad. I want good. I don't want less bad. I want good. And I'm not getting it with either one. And I'm pissed. So when they did that whole thing, oh, I'm stepping down, Kamala's going to take my place. I was like, fuck you. That was my thought.
There are reasons to not like, and I completely get that, and I respect that. The biggest problem of the whole damn thing is that where we have gotten in American politics is what I've talked about, how we are societally. We are a society of reactionaries. We are less concerned about building up and slow steering to avoid problems, or to slowly steered towards a common outcome that's a positive, into becoming a group that's slamming the tiller all the way, one way or the other, depending as to what's going on, like literally right in front of us. And I would much rather be taking the time to do exactly what you're talking about. To be able to vote more for an individual and for the common goals and how stuff is, building up. But the problem is, in my vision, what is the statistical outcome? For me, it's hard for me to justify in my own head to be looking for the additional candidate who might be a little bit more aligned with what I would like, because of the statistics and because of the way that the presidential election is done in this country, which, let's just go ahead and say it, it's stupid. The electoral college system in this country is stupid beyond measure. the idea that some people don't understand how it works, yeah, that's because it's a complicated system that doesn't need to be. It should be a simple matter of how many votes countrywide. Okay, who had more? Okay, done. It's simple. Or at the very least, it's supposed to be simple. But that's not the way it was set up, and it's stupid as all hell. For me, how do we get better groups? As much as I hate to say it, I think the best way, if not necessarily the only way, the best way is for it to get grown. Should it start out at the presidential level? My opinion, and I didn't take poli-sci by any stretch. It needs to be grown from the grass up. And trying to bring it from the top down, I don't believe that that's a viable way of doing it. Now, again, that's my opinion, because that's the way that I've viewed it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Immaterial. I would very much like there to be better choices as well. I'm not saying that Tech is wrong. I just don't agree with him. And he and I know full well he's gonna back me up on this one. We don't have a problem with disagreeing on how this is supposed to work.
Correct.
Yeah. We want whatever it is that happens. We agree. I think all three of us, and I think all of us that are dealing with this will agree. Whatever, I'm going to say it, whatever the fuck it takes to keep that felon out of the Oval Office is fine by me. The idea that he's going to be incarcerated by the time the elections happen is fine by me. And
if he ends up in jail, is he even still eligible to be elected?
Yes.
That's
Yes. Being in prison does not bar somebody from presidency except under, I think, one or two explicit circumstances. Let me see here. It's been a while, so let me look this thing up.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the only way that would prevent would be for the quote-unquote high crimes and misdemeanors, where they would be effectively barred from taking a position of, God, I forgot what the technical wording of it was. A position of trust,
right.
Because they would have been convicted of effectively dereliction of duty. I'm not using the right terminology, I know full well, but
right. So there is the insurrection clause. If you are found guilty of causing an insurrection, you literally cannot be president, vice president, any kind of federal or state military or civil office, Congress, judicial officer, state executive. It was ratified in the Civil War's aftermath. So if you're prosecuted as an insurrectionist, you're done. Because you basically tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah, and before we move too far past that, that's also part of the reason why there had been this push for the presidential immunity thing, because if they can argue in court, a court that is amenable to it, what I was doing with these people was part of my official act as president, and they say, well, you know what, we agree with you, okay, Insurrection Act doesn't qualify for you in this particular case, you can't be prosecuted under that, that's all.
Yeah. I mean, to become a president, the bar is low.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be 35 years old or older.
At time of
You must,
inauguration.
right. You have to be a natural born citizen of the United States of America.
Right.
And you must have been residing in the United States for at least 14 years. And
Yeah. That's literally it.
yeah, that's it. Okay. Um, you know, that it's a low bar. You don't have to be an attorney. You don't have to be a college graduate. You could be a high school dropout. You could be you know, just your random person off the street, and you can also be in prison. But if you've committed insurrection and been prosecuted for it and found guilty of it, you're not going to be a president. You cannot be a president.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm very, like a whole bunch of others, I'm um, uh, very attentive about this whole presidential immunity thing and being really, really annoyed with this.
Well, I mean, thanks to the presidential immunity, I mean, Biden can order an airstrike on Mar-a-Lago with Trump in it, and hey, immunity.
Actually, he can't
No,
because the
I know he
Supreme
can't.
Court afterwards will say whether or not he
Yeah,
was immune.
no, I was just being
And
facetious.
and the Supreme Court right now will say that Biden was not immune.
And there's the rub.
Yep.
Because the Supreme Court had basically opened up the question as far as to what qualifies as the official act of a president. And they very literally said, and I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing a bit, but not too very far. We get to determine at time of trial what is and what is not presidentially immune activity because we will determine it, which is
Yeah, the people who are getting
absolute
bought off.
which is absolute bullshit. Is this car speeding? Well, you know what? Maybe they're allowed to be, maybe they're not allowed to be. So let's bring him into court and then find out afterwards. Does that qualify as speeding or not? I'm sorry. No, that's not the way that rules operate. The rule is either yes or no. And if you want to go ahead and use something that some of us from the 80s would remember, learn karate, yes. Okay. Learn karate, no. Okay. Learn karate, maybe. Like grape.
Well, that was the left side of the road. Start right side of the road. Squish like grape.
Seekers mentioning about footage from the film crew that followed Stone for what was 8 to 10 months before January 6th. Who's Stone? Unless he's talking about the former felon.
That would be, memory serves, Roger Stone? I believe is who it was. I've got either Roger or Oliver in my head, and I don't remember which is which. But he was a piece of work. Wasn't he the one that was like wearing a top hat? Looked like he could have been a stand-in for like the old man penguin in a Batman movie.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Roger Stone.
I paid more attention to Sharon Stone.
Thank you. Oh, please.
Trevor.
You have no idea what eye color she has. Seeker's reminding us, Roger Stone. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
She has eyes?
A little bit higher. Yes, she does.
Perverts, a lot of ya.
It's a joke.
I know, which is why I say perverts, a lot of ya.
Yeah, but I'm a gentleman pervert. I've got a badge to prove it and everything. Anyway.
I've got one too. And it's flying just for you. My badge.
I get that reference. I understood that reference.
I love them.
Mm. For anybody that's trying to figure out what's that reference, the reference goes like this. Here we go. John!
Yes, boss.
See, we all get it. And if you don't get it too, you can go look it up later. We're not going to help you on this one. You have
Badge.
homework.
Just remember, you don't have to help them out a little bit. There's no button to push if you panic.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, that's the only clue I'm giving.
Yeah. You know, the thing about this, and why this whole damn thing intersects with why we do what we do, is that the whole reason of doing this show has been to point out, you know, how bad an idea religion is. And, you know, some people at this point are just going to be like, well, you guys didn't talk about religion at all this whole night. Yeah, directly. But so much of this is just a cult. There is literally no other way of describing it other than the Republican Trumpinist MAGA party is a cult, full stop.
Yep. And if people say, well, religion's not entering into this, you're turning into a political show. It's like, well, first off, religion is not supposed to enter into politics, but it has been in the United States. There is actually a rule or a law or a writing that says that the religions can be tax free and all this fun stuff as long as they stay the hell out of politics, and in return the government will stay out of their religion. But if you break the rule, you lose your rating and all that fun stuff. What the government hasn't been doing is holding religion accountable, because a lot of politicians are getting money from religious organizations. And so therefore they turn the other cheek. Well, I'm sorry, they look the other way.
And the intentional looking the other way thing started with the Reagan administration intentionally.
Oh yeah.
Want to make sure that folks understand where we can lay the blame on, because Reagan, because he can just go ahead and devolve in piss as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Reagan was a fine president. The more he slept, the safer the world was. Paraphrase Arlo Guthrie there.
Anyway.
That's actually on the Precious Friends album with Pete Seeger. That specific quote.
Not wrong.
Where was they?
Nope.
Oh, my brain's derailed.
Honestly, when it came to the felon, seeing him on Twitter, you knew he wasn't dealing with actual real life, real things. He was just trying to stir up steam so people would have his name in their lips.
Yeah.
And he's still doing it.
Yeah. Because
formerly known as Twitter.
I typed in 3 words into Google. Cult of Trump. And then I went to images. Oh, there's so many interesting images.
Yeah, is there anybody that's selling maxi pads for the ears at this point?
Not yet, as far as I know.
Well, if your ear's having that time of the month, you want something super absorbent. So you get brain bleeds, like most conservatives. Try Maxi's new brain bleed pad. Just cover over your ear.
See, you think I'm making a joke, but in all seriousness, it would not in any way, shape, or form surprise me if there is somebody that has already started a business or is already manufacturing them so that they can be sold very shortly, that are just big puffy thing to put on your ear.
Yeah, but see, you're not going far enough.
Yes, there
A
is.
big puffy
And
thing that goes on your ear with the MAGA logo.
What was
yeah,
that? There is somebody that's already selling pre-made things to just set on your ear?
yeah, but that's the medical version of it, and it's actually supposed to be a proper dressing kit. But
Are
one
they
of the
marketing it
people,
to the supporters?
no, one of the people at the Trump rally has his ear bandaged with the words "fight, fight, fight."
No, I think
Ugh.
and Sujin, correct me if I'm wrong. What I think you were trying to say was that somebody is buying up bandages or maxi pads, putting like MAGA, Trump, 2025, whatever logos and so on it for the conservatives, the GOP, and all that, and then marketing them with a big up price, right?
Sort of so, effectively so, but I was thinking something a little bit more refined, but effectively so, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm expecting. And if it hasn't yet happened, I'm actually really disappointed in these people.
Think it has, but probably just at the attendee level, like you had to be there.
Eh, that's all right.
Mm.
So, we've got a new presidential race. We've got question mark as far as to who is going to be tapped for the Democratic vice presidential spot. There are a couple of names that I've heard. Um, I'm I will say that Brigid had suggested to me when we texted earlier that the idea of getting Pete Buttigieg to be vice presidential candidate is a really cool idea. I mean, then we'd have two first gentlemen. So I don't know, man. It would be interesting. I don't know that
First gentleman and a second gentleman.
for first and second. Yep, sorry. I didn't finish the thought because I'm just so
Well,
earthed
we would
about it.
now know who came first.
Yep. Thing
Either
is,
the chicken or the egg.
do I think that would work? I would love it to. I would love it to.
Oh,
See, for
my
me,
goodness.
I really
No, no,
don't
no, no, no,
care
no, no.
whether the person who enters presidency is gay, straight, bisexual, trisexual, part of a polycule, or whatever. I really don't. I want them to be capable. I want them to have the necessary skill set, the necessary mindset, the stability, and so on for the job. Which is why I always laugh when somebody goes, "Oh, we can't have a woman as a president. They have, a bad time of the month for a day or two." It's like, look, hey, you idiot. Have you ever looked up what testosterone does to the human body? We guys have been flooded with it, and we go through about what was it? I think my health education teacher said in high school was something like 13 mood swings a day. But as we get used to it over time and kind of just bury the shit.
Yep.
So let's see, once or twice in a month, versus 13 times a day.
Yeah. Somebody also
Sure.
pointed out, haven't all wars been started by men?
No, there's been more started by women, but just not in comparison. It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Kind of the same way that again, I'm pushing this one just a little bit. Haven't all mass murders in the United States with a gun been done by men. Again, there's a handful of them that were done by women, but you see where that one's going. And by the by, I just pulled it up. Kamala is 59 years old. She is effectively my age, effectively, within like a 5-year span. There's something to be said for that. When I was in grade school, I vividly remember this. I couldn't tell you which grade it was. It might have been first, second grade, third grade, whatever. Vividly remember that our teacher at the time said to my class, "You are going to be the first stewards of the 21st century." I want you to think about this for just a couple of seconds. The first stewards of the 21st century. We, who had been born in 1969, let's round it up, 1970. We would be crossing into the 21st century at 30 years old. We should have been the ones to start the new century rolling. And we were frozen out. We were frozen out of politics, and we were frozen out of jobs because the old guard refused to step aside. Look at where we are now. We are only just finally picking up somebody from my age bracket. And after that, it damn well better snap farther down. It damn well better be somebody from their 40s. It needs to happen again. I mean, hell, we need to have another JFK, a young kid coming in, full of vim, vigor, vinegar, ready to go ahead and just piss everybody off, but get stuff done. I want to see that. I don't have too many years left in me, but damn it, I want to see that. That'd be nice. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Get ourselves back to them again properly. Be nice to go have another person stepping back on the moon before the last of them has died off, thank you. You know, I don't know anybody really remembers it, but the last space shuttle mission, my commentary about that one had come up on my Facebook feed recently. I didn't reshare the memory, but I had this thing where it was just like radio transmission from the shuttle back down to Earth. Houston, thanks for the keys to the car. We're going to take a swing around the moon, come back. We'll be back in 3 days. God, that would have been nice. They didn't have the Delta V to be able to do that, but man, that would have been nice. 3 days out, 3 days back. That would have been nice. Anyway. And Seeker has also got a good point. What I was just talking about, that was Obama for his first 2 years. Then the Republicans had the power and still control the Fed. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be blue across the board in order to undo everything that has been done. And we need to stay blue for a couple of elections.
Yeah. Because that Project 2025 thing is going to be holding over our heads for the foreseeable future.
I've told my kids, don't come to the United States, especially if you end up pregnant or your partner's pregnant. Don't do it. You're going to end up stuck if you go to the wrong state.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not going to happen. Bullshit.
Yeah, do like everybody else in Canada. Live within 200 miles of the border, and pop over every once in a while. Just visit, say hi, go back. I mean, there's plenty to do in Niagara Falls. Just a thought.
I was there about a decade ago.
Tech?
Yeah.
You were about to say something it sounded like.
Oh, you mentioned Niagara Falls, and I said, yeah, in a barrel.
Yeah, don't do that. Just don't.
It's a Canadian tradition.
No, it's not.
It's an American tradition.
No, it's not.
It's a tradition.
It's a dumbass tradition. Or, you could do like the I think it was a 5-year-old kid. Just go over with a life vest on. You got lucky as all hell. And to all of you captains over there running the Maid of the Mist boats, thank you, sirs. And I say sir because you respect the captain of a vessel by calling them sir, regardless of what gender they are. I mean, yeah, you could call them ma'am if they're ma'am, but the tradition for an officer is sir. No, I'm not part of the military, but I salute kids, just to make them smile. The thing.
Okay, I remember this about the felon's first run through. Every night after Trumpsky's election, Maddo would show who was fired from what department and still in those offices, just waiting. Project 2025 is terrifying.
Yep. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you folks know. I have no intention of us doing any kind of a dive into the Project 2025 book. We are not capable of doing a proper deep dive on that. There are plenty of other groups that are going to be doing it.
Yeah, that thing's like 300 plus pages long.
9.
So doing a deep dive in this show would take forever.
900.
900.
It would take the three of us and more.
Yeah.
Okay.
To go through it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us have the educational wherewithal to actually deal with it.
Yeah. See, I said 300 plus because I think I stopped in the early 300s of the damn thing. I'm trying to read it.
Yeah.
Now to be honest here, there were some sections I even skipped. But I bring this thing up because I thought it was really funny, not funny, haha, funny, sad. That I heard at work that was said to me by a coworker, but of the opposite gender, who said, "Hey, have you heard about this Project 2025 thing?" I said, yeah, long time ago. What do you mean long time ago? I just found out about it. And was like, there's a website. It's been available for quite a long time. And she's like, well, they want to prosecute women for having a miscarriage. I said, that's just the icing on the cake. There's a lot more to it that it's been around a while. It's gotten nastier and nastier as the years have gone by. It's had different names, but it's the same shit. Well, I don't understand why the politicians would make this. And I said, the politicians didn't make that. The politicians are being given money to follow it. It's by the Heritage Foundation. And then the politicians get paid by lobbyists who tell them that they should follow that plan. And rather than we, the people, who the politicians are supposed to be representing, they go, who cares about the people? The real money comes from the lobbyists. Rather than representing us, they treat the position like a business. And since the people don't give them money and the lobbyists give them money, they're going to listen to the lobbyists. And rather than we, the people, paying them money to listen to us, I don't know. Honestly, our forefathers had a plan for that. Anyway, I've said my piece.
Yep, fair enough. And we're just about at the top. So, Isle, real quick, you got any last piece before we go ahead and close up?
Well, I've been told repeatedly that I should seek a lawyer for the incident with the e-bike. And I'm kind of, no, I don't really want to do that to the poor person. Who knows? That e-bike might have been the only thing that they could have afforded. And I don't feel comfortable going after somebody. So I guess my rant tonight is for city planners that don't plan for safe places for bikes to be. And so bikes are either fighting for space on streets or fighting for spaces on sidewalks where pedestrians are supposed to be safe. I'm going to be hurting for a while. I'm going to get off the show, limp to my bed, and cry. It sucks. I can't walk. And it's affected my DJing. Because I can't think well enough to know where to DJ. So, yeah. Just me whining.
Fair. And I am sorry. I'm glad that you're relatively okay, but I'm sorry. This whole political thing has just been an absolute shit show in a lot of different ways, and it is by far nowhere near done. We've still got a couple of months that we're gonna have to be dealing with this. Most of us have already made up our minds as far as to how we want to be voting when the time comes, and reasonably so. And there are reasons to like and dislike several different candidates out there. I get that. The problem is, what is the vision forward? What is it that we want? What is it that you want? Who do you want kept safe? How? This is one of those things where you have to look at the story. You have to stop building forward. Take a look at the last page of the book. Where should we be as a society, as a group, people? And then look at the first page, where we are now. How do we get from here to there? We're not going to tell you how to vote. We want you to vote a specific way, sure, because it's our opinion on how do we get from here to there. But that's just our opinion, and we're not going to foist that on you. We're not going to tell you that you shouldn't be watching us if you vote differently. We want you to get out there and make sure that your voice is heard. We want every voice out there. Because when all is said and done, the human species, as a collective, will do good. I do believe in that. And I'm not going to say that I've got faith in it. I just have seen we collectively will do good over time. How can I believe that? Because we've already done it. And we will continue to do it. I have trust. I've got trust issues, but I've got trust. So let's go ahead and call it a night. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and you got something to think about for the week ahead. As always, over there in the chat, Doc, know that you had to go early. You take care of yourself, man. If you get the chance to listen back later, just know that we're glad to see you, man. Kind of worry a little bit about you. Seeker, Stephanie, and Felis, thank you guys. Appreciate it. You've helped out, of course, as always. We appreciate it. You take care of yourselves. Io, I hope you have a good restful evening and you kind of take care of yourself if at all possible, hey? You can say thank you or something.
I can talk. I can talk. I'm just reading what Seeker says. Yeah, the guy hasn't checked out on me, and I gave him my card, so I don't know. I'm sore, lots of pain, and I hope you get better rest than I do.
That's what I'm hoping. Tech, you also take care of yourself, and with any luck, hopefully you don't have to worry too much about any storms coming your way this week.
Storms don't really bother me. It's the idiots who decide, hey, I really do really stupid things behind the wheel. Now's the perfect time to go driving. It's like, if I'm on the road during a really bad storm, it's because I don't have a choice. Well, I mean, there's always a choice, but it's that urgent. Other people think that they're on the road for something urgent. They're also the same people who think, oh, I'm in a residential area, single lane, double yellow line, 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, but I'm in a hurry, so I'm going to blow through at 40, almost hit the person in front of me, pass them on a double yellow line with oncoming traffic in a residential. And I wish that was a one-off where I live. But when it comes to those soccer moms in minivans, and I'm not joking when I say they're moms in minivans because they're rushing to the damn school, because it's this thing I described only happens to me when school is in session. And it's almost always a minivan or something like that. And there's always a lady behind the wheel. Turns out there's kids in the car rushing to the school down the street. If I was an officer and I lived where I live, I wouldn't ever leave where I live because I could just rack them up right here. But, they're also the ones who are like, oh, what do you mean roads are closed? Not to me. I got to go get a beer. I'm not kidding. The last time we had a road closure, somebody got the excuse was, it made the local paper. The excuse was they were headed to the store for some beer. If they were going to be trapped inside their house for however long, the roads were going to be closed. They weren't going to do it without beer. Well, yeah.
I'll have to remember my beer next thing. Meantime, thank you. Brigid, of course, we look forward to having you back again. On your behalf, then, I will go ahead and put out a nice old, big old fuck you to Eileen Cannon, because pretty soon there's going to be a big reckoning, and I can't wait to be there for it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing this. Meantime, everybody, thank you for being with us. If you want to check us out over on the website, holycrapthevlogcast.com, our contact information is over there. Even better, take a swing over to the Discord page. Be more than happy to interact with you over there, especially if you just kind of like need somebody to vent to. We'll do our best to be there for you if you need it. I feel like there's other things I need to make mention to, but I think that's just because I'm a little bit on the tired side right now. So we'll be looking forward to talking to you again next week. So in the meantime, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. Wish you well. And of course, as always, my lady, it should have been 31 years for us together. And I am still in love. Not today, Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone. As always,